Part 18. As we move into Part 18, the focus sharpens on the interplay of real-world behavior, strategic decisions, and psychological endurance. In 2026, creators operate in an environment where every micro-choice is magnified. A single upload, a subtle metadata tweak, or an unplanned collaboration can ripple through the algorithm and influence both audience perception and enforcement evaluation. The suspense lies not in isolated actions, but in the invisible web of cause and effect, where foresight becomes survival, and impulsive decisions leave traces that compound into long-term consequences. Late at night, the creators who succeed are those who see the ecosystem as a living, responsive organism, one that reacts to patterns, predicts intent, and rewards consistent, deliberate action. The psychological landscape is intense. Fear, ambition, and pressure collide with the human instinct to act quickly, to reclaim lost revenue or growth. Yet strategic creators convert these pressures into structured action. They audit content thoroughly, redesign formats to avoid policy triggers, structure collaborations transparently, diversify monetization, and communicate openly with audiences. Each decision becomes a deliberate signal of credibility, reinforcing trust with both the human audience and the platform's evaluation systems. Monetization strategy is intertwined with behavioral discipline. Single-channel dependence increases stress and temptation to bypass rules, whereas diversified revenue, memberships, merchandise, brand deals, and external platforms allows creators to act thoughtfully, converting stability into a strategic advantage. Financial foresight strengthens emotional control, allowing decisions to favor long-term growth over short-term gain. Collaborations are now tactical as well as creative. Associative activity, guest appearances, co-productions, or shared audiences can be interpreted as indirect continuation if linked to prior restricted accounts. Creators carefully plan partnerships to maximize exposure while avoiding risk, turning collaborations into instruments of safe, strategic growth. Transparency and documentation are critical, ensuring that influence is applied intentionally rather than inadvertently triggering enforcement. Operational precision remains central. Scheduling consistency, metadata accuracy, visual branding, and narrative coherence all form behavioral signals measured against platform algorithms. Creators who monitor, refine, and optimize these processes transform operational discipline into protection and leverage, converting attention to detail into a strategic asset. Emotional mastery defines success. Impulse, ego, and urgency are constant forces, especially when metrics fluctuate or revenue dips. Strategic creators convert stress into actionable insight, fear into analysis, and setbacks into opportunities for refinement. Impulse becomes the enemy. Discipline and foresight are the tools of influence. Creativity flourishes within boundaries. Rule-conscious experimentation allows safe exploration while avoiding detectable patterns that could escalate enforcement. Boundaries become a framework for innovation rather than limitation, proving that strategic discipline and creative freedom are mutually reinforcing. Cumulative enforcement risk underscores the importance of foresight. Isolated infractions can be recovered from, but repeated circumvention, direct or indirect, compounds consequences. The system in 2026 evaluates intent, persistence, and pattern continuity, teaching creators that proactive alignment is always superior to reactive improvisation. Audience transparency is a powerful lever. Publicly acknowledging strikes, explaining revisions, and demonstrating adherence to guidelines builds trust while signaling reliability to the platform. Credibility is multiplied across engagement metrics, trust scoring, and algorithmic visibility, reinforcing the value of honesty over secrecy. The ultimate insight emerges. Circumvention is the trap of short-term thinking. Strategic foresight, discipline, and transparency are the engines of enduring influence. Platforms remember behavioral patterns far longer than viewers remember controversies, and creators who internalize this principle construct resilient, lasting digital legacies. Cinematic tension gives way to clarity. Notifications, strikes, and restrictions are no longer crises, but guideposts illuminating the pathway between impulse and strategy, between temporary recovery and sustainable growth. Mastery of both internal psychology and external ecosystem signals defines long-term success. Part 18 closes with a fundamental truth. In 2026, creators who thrive are those who act intentionally. Every upload, collaboration, revenue choice, and audience interaction contributes to a coherent behavioral profile. Circumvention fades into a cautionary tale, discipline becomes freedom, and foresight ensures influence, credibility, and growth endure far beyond fleeting trends, algorithmic shifts, or policy updates. The legacy of a creator is written not in viral spikes, but in strategic decisions, consistent action, and the courage to prioritize foresight over impulse. If you want, I can continue with part 19, where we could start the final wrap-up arc, art, weaving together all lessons, suspense, psychological insight, and cinematic storytelling for the ultimate YouTube-ready conclusion. Do you want me to do part 19 next?